to Engage 8, the daily segment of 8 minutes where we go over the hardest hitting news from the NFL today and just some casual stuff, some news that has been going about. So, since we only have that 8 minutes, let's dive right into it. And the news of the day today is Chicago Bears linebacker, former Georgia Bulldog Roquan Smith is now headed to the Baltimore Ravens in a trade. Baltimore is sending their 2023 second-round pick and fifth-round pick to Chicago in exchange for Roquan. He's had a really solid season. PFF doesn't want to say so far, but he's made some highlight plays so far this year. Kind of a disappointment coming out where he was drafted, but he has started to really pick it up in these past 2 years. You'll be able to put Roquan besides Patrick Queen, who's having a really nice year as well. The Ravens currently have a 15th ranked defense according to PFF, which isn't what we're used to when it comes to Baltimore. So adding Roquan to that unit will definitely be a lot of help coming in. But what do you think of this, man? Does this make the Ravens AFC North favorites now of the Bengals? What are your thoughts?
With the Chase injury, I definitely could hear an argument for, the Ravens being the favorite moving forward. There's a lot of options that could happen here with this move because first, when my initial thought is, well, if you're trading a second round pick for him, that means that you plan on extending him. And one of the main holdups in Chicago was he wanted to be the highest paid linebacker in the NFL. And that's, going to be $15 to $18 million a year, something around that range. And you're still thinking about Lamar Jackson's deal. Like that still needs to get done. And you can't franchise tag Roquan if you're unsure about that because that's probably going to go to Lamar as well. But then there's another way you could look at it where you could just trade for him, get half this season plus however far you go in the playoffs, let him walk. He likely will be highest paid linebacker and get a third round compensatory pick back. So you're really only giving, you're trading a second and a fifth for Roquan Smith, half a season of Roquan Smith and a third. I don't think that's that bad. So there's two different ways you could look at it, but as deadline moves, this is two teams going in opposite directions.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Bears, they looked really good on Sunday, I will say that, but they seem to be selling off all their pieces, looking to non-compete this year. But, I mean, we've liked what we've saw for the Bears, like, these past couple weeks, so it's sad to see that them going full bore on the rebuild, but it means nothing but good things for next year. And as we dive into that, you posted something earlier on our Instagram that got temporarily fucking banned today, by the way. Off-season projected cap space for the Bears, $122 million, 121.7 to be exact. The next closest team is the Falcons, with half of that at $63 million. So a lot of the consideration for spending this money has to be geared towards the offense. I imagine an offense this is a team that has a lot of holes, so you can sign anybody and make this team better, but the offense has been glaring these past few years. You need to help out Justin Fields. So some of the notable upcoming free agents this offseason, real quickly, Mike Gesicki, Josh Jacobs, who's having a great year, Kareem Hunt, who might get traded at the deadline, Dalton Schultz, Saquon Barkley is a free agent this offseason if they don't franchise tag him. Rashad Penny's a free agent after Seattle signed him to a one-year deal. Alan Lazard, Juju Smith-Schuster is a free agent after he only signed a one-year deal in KC. Jarvis Landry, Miles Sanders is a free agent coming off of his rookie deal. Mecole Hardman, Jeff Wilson, Alexander Madison is coming off his rookie deal. Tony Pollard's a free agent coming off his rookie deal after a massive performance on Sunday where Jerry Jones right after the game said no question Zeke is the starting running back coming back, which I could not believe. James Robinson is also available this offseason to sign coming off that rookie deal. So any of these names popping out on the board to you? Dave Montgomery's also has an expiring contract, so he'll be out of town this year.
Yeah, they have a lot, obviously $121 million. I don't remember the last time a team had that much cap space going into a free agency period. It's going to be a lot of like what we saw from Jacksonville last year, where they just go out and throw a bunch of darts at like the fourth or fifth best free agent at every position, probably pay them a little bit more than they should. Kind of like like they have to pay a Jacksonville tax have to pay a little bit more. You might have to do that here in Chicago just because this roster is not up to standards. You got to go play in the cold. Yeah, it's a storied franchise, but really not over the last 30 to 40 years. It's been pretty rough in Chicago. I could also see them extending some of their guys to hit that league minimum of spending you have to spend. I believe it's 107 salary for a given season. And they're at 70 million right now, so they're going to have to maybe extend some guys like Darnell Mooney, Jalen Johnson, Cole Kmet that, they probably wouldn't want to extend, but just to be able to spend enough money to hit that minimum, they'll probably sign. But I think it's going to be a very interesting offseason. You've obviously got picks now. You said that there's not like the free agents there. It's a lot of names, but it's not any like big impact players. But that's obviously not the only way that you can go out and acquire new players and spend that money. We saw this offseason, we saw Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown all get traded and then get that big money. I could see that very well happening this offseason with whatever big name wide receiver becomes available. I think that's honestly the move if you want to roll forward with Justin Fields. Go out and get that certified number one X receiver, pay him $30 million a year. That, gets you a lot closer to the league minimum, and just keep building this thing because it's not going to be over this offseason either. There's a lot of work to be done in Chicago. This is a complete teardown.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to think, like, obviously wide receiver is the position of need that's most glaring in Chicago, but I can't think of any wide receivers that haven't gotten that huge contract yet coming off of their rookie deal. I mean, the next guys up are Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, who are not going to be headed to other teams, I don't think. But
well, I guess I was going to say Jamar Chase probably stays, but Justin Jefferson, who knows?
Division?
But
yeah,
interdivision, can't really see that happening. Yeah.
So I don't know a lot of big wide receiver names that are available, but some of these running back names, like, they could definitely be in the market to be traded even before the deadline. Like, if they wanted to do a sign and trade or something like that, I don't know. That's not very seen often in the NFL, but Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Alexander Madison, Tony Pollard, James Robinson, these will be starting running backs somewhere next year, and they'll all be effective. So I think the Bears might be, especially how they define themselves as a running team, I think they might be in the market for a guy like Saquon or Josh Jacobs. It would be insane. But what do you think the likelihood is that those guys end up on the market?
I mean, I probably not this week, especially like those top guys you mentioned, Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley. Josh Jacobs, I guess, in my mind, it feels like the Raiders should be competing, but they're not. So maybe he could become available. I don't think the Giants move Saquon, especially with the fact that they've won 6 games already. It looks like they're probably going to be headed towards a playoff berth. So I think he definitely stays in New York. I don't know what the Raiders are going to do. They're in a weird spot where they kind of went all in when everyone expected them to just, clean house, kind of like what Chicago's done over the offseason. They go get Devontae Adams. They extend Derek Carr. So now you're kind of stuck with this team. And I mean, maybe you trade Josh Jacobs for a 4th or 5th or something like that to get some capital back. Obviously, he just went off for 3 straight 30-plus point fantasy points per game over the last 3 weeks, not including this last week against New Orleans. So I think some contenders could definitely.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be interesting to see. This has been the most active trade deadline by far in the last, in the last forever in the National Football League. So it'll be interesting to watch if guys like Josh Jacobs get dealt off. But as we hit the 8-minute mark, we'll catch you guys tomorrow on another segment of Engage 8. Thanks for hanging with us.